All right, that was very good. You've all done as you're told. You were quiet in the studio. We can begin. Here we go. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have someone famous on the show tonight. Yes, it's me. Ab Fab, your delightful digital pub landlord. No, we do have a celebrity on the show tonight, and I'm going to introduce him momentarily. But first, we have that wonderful man who is able to take statistics, put them together in such a way to actually make other people look like idiots. We have the stats man. Say hello, sir.
You make it very easy, don't we? Hello, fine, sirs. How are we?
We are okay. All right, well, I'm now going to come to our man of the moment. His head can't even get through the door. The Gazelle. Say hello, sir. Say hello, Trevor Nicholls.
Good evening, Jonathan. And I don't think that's very funny, Mr. Stats, with what you're doing, which I'm not going to tell the people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. They're all listening. It's been one heck of a weekend this weekend. I've been all over the Nationals, and I don't mean reading them.
Here we go. Well, yes. And did you win anything in the Grand National?
I didn't, actually.
Oh.
Well, I think I actually won. I didn't win in the National, but I think I won overall in a certain circumstance I've been in.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd say I definitely won in the circumstance I've been in.
Okay, well, more about that later. Okay.
We'll probably go into that a little bit later, as you say.
Well, we are all in election fever. It's taken a grip of everything. And at the moment, if we're in election fever, then it's got to be Labour bash time. Because
Standard.
we got to bash them. Here we go. Right, over 200 Labour politicians have been arrested, suspended, or embroiled in serious crime scandal since the general election. How about that?
Yeah, wow.
Over
Zap,
200
bang,
of them.
Bonk, zap, take that.
Oh.
Wolf.
You sound like Batman and Robin. Kapow. All right. Councillor Tom Dewey, Hackney. How about this one? Reported that Tom Dewey, 36, it was Vote Watch that this came from. They reported that Tom Dewey was charged as part of an NCA investigation into child abuse photographs found at his home. He briefly served as a councillor in Hackney before resigning over the incident, attempting to hide the true reason by citing personal reasons.
All right. So was he actually from Hackney, or did he have acne?
Did he have acne? Do you know, there are so many of them, so many councillors. So many councillors. How about this one? Councillor David Beckett of Darlington. Now, Councillor David Beckett, who also worked alongside Angela Rayner, another one that's famous at the moment, was suspended for calling King Charles a nonce on social media and urging people not to swear their allegiance to the crown.
Not very nice.
Okay, so, no, what can I say? A bit of a controversy there. All right.
Andrew, maybe.
Yeah, you've just took the words out of my mouth there.
I didn't say that because I'm in trouble at the minute. Go on.
You said maybe.
Well, there's a mysterious Labour MP at the moment, that the Metropolitan Police have announced that they would not investigate an allegation of sexual reported by a female Labour MP against a popular Labour front bench MP at the victim's request. Now, I wonder who could that be?
I wonder. There's a lot of mystery in there, isn't there? Mysteriousness.
Yes, and I hope that I got that across in the right way. They are not going to investigate this MP for a sexual assault at the bequest and request of the person that was assaulted, supposedly.
All right. Okay.
Okay. I mean, there's just there's tons of them. Okay, tons of them, and loads of them. Council leaders, what have you, all Labour. I mean, almost 200 of them, and this is another reason why. And I'll bring Statsman in momentarily. This is the reason why I want to push for DBS checking on all of these people.
Yeah. Totally agree.
And even going so far as an enhanced DBS check. So that these people, because they will be mixing with children as well in schools. And to do that, and I would urge everyone in any council and residents who are going to be voting in any elections to actually request it and force the council into doing it, because that would get rid of a lot of these problems beforehand. A lot of them. Go ahead, Statsman.
It seems you're not the only one. MP Simon, and I hope I say this right, Simon Hoare. Is that how you say it?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Phew. Simon's
That
also
man's
been
up.
calling for this. Sorry, go on.
That man's up.
Go on. That was a stupid
He's
interjection.
a conservative MP, and he's been calling for it too, especially when they're working with children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that'll be a good start. And then, yeah, to branch it out, because if you look at this, there's definitely a pattern emerging. I mean, there's a list there, and it's been out for years. It was called the Labour 25, but I think it's up to about 70 now.
Yeah.
And it spans quite put out 10, 15, 20 years, and it is paedophile after paedophile after paedophile. I mean, there's lists out there. It's not just Labour. They're rife in every party.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them. So maybe something does need to be done, because you want to vote for someone you can trust.
Indeed. And especially somebody who has an enhanced DBS check, like the candidate that is standing in the Wolverham ward. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Yeah, I get, obviously, with my occupation, I think it's also down to the schools as well, because, I mean, I am not allowed to enter a school unless I'm DBS checked. So a lot of my work's done in term time. When I started up my business, I was DBS checked. But again, that was a long time ago. So, I mean, it's down to the schools. So if any people are going into their schools, then they normally have to be DBS checked.
Yeah.
Now, but does that work towards councillors or most certainly MPs?
Yeah.
Is it overlooked on that particular issue? I don't know. Let's check on it and let's get back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Doesn't seem to apply to drag queens, so probably doesn't apply to Labour politicians either.
No, well, that's a great point to make.
Good point.
Okay,
Yes.
well, there you go. There's one of them. Now, this other one, again, I know you're going to be very surprised at this. Who is the biggest union membership in the country? Who has the biggest union membership?
The
I should have
biggest?
said? Yeah.
It's got to be a rail union, hasn't it?
Nope.
Not
Unite.
Ulster,
I'd say Unite.
Unite it is. But
Who?
yet, Unite. Okay.
Who do they cover?
They cover a lot. They do cover a lot. But here you go. You ready? Huge membership fall since last official figure in 2020. But management hasn't reported official membership despite requirement to do so every year, and continues to donate millions to anti-worker Labour Party. Now, they've gone and lost 210,000 members under the present leader, Graham, since 2020. 210,000.
210,000?
210,000. And it's
Quarter of a
growing.
million. It's en route for $250,000.
Yep. Now, who'd have thought that?
Well, me. Because when you go on their website, the first thing it says is Unite is dedicated to serving the best interest of its members, protecting workers' rights and equality and diversity. There you go.
Oh.
That's killed it.
Well, the fund that they had there in the union, which is meant to support strikers, when they go on strike to pay their bills and feed their families, it went from 35 million when current General Secretary Sharon Graham took office to just 11 million now.
Wow.
That's 24 million disappeared.
Does that tell you that they're not serving the best interests of its members then?
Well, there's something not quite right there, because when I went through the figures, I thought, wow, that's a big drop every year. They've been spending that amount of money. So 11 mil, they say, is only enough for about 8 months based on spending in each of the last 2 years. So that's it. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that decline is quite a telling point. How much of the Labour money is going to be lasting? Because if they're big funders of Labour, how long is it going to go on for?
Good question.
Anyway, All right, here's the next one. And we don't care if the Gazelle has vacated his seat. It's Mr. No Mark there and just the microphone. Maybe we'll get more sense out of the microphone, to be honest with you. But anyway, the Home Office boasts that 20,000 asylum seekers and refugees are being moved out of hotels, but most are being moved to private rented homes as young families battle to get accommodation and communities fear ghettos growing in their midst. Now, remember we were talking about this just recently, and now the Daily Mail.
Sir, and I just have to point out one thing on that. When you're singing ghettos, be very, very careful because it could indicate that you're a white supremacist. Indeed. Go ahead, Statsman. Go ahead.
Yes, leaving hotels and soon to be seen at a home of multiple, overseas near you?
Yeah, multiple overseas. Homes of multiple occupancy.
So no longer will you be paying their hotel food and hotel bills. You'll now be paying the council tax, the electricity bills, the water, the gas, the food, the clothing, and everything else that goes along with it, and probably the rent. Yay!
And tell me that a landlord isn't going to take a deal like that.
Oh, they'll snap it up, especially if the likes of Serco are paying them over the odds.
Yep.
They are snapping it up.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
They are.
You got to sit back and you got to go, what the hell?
Did we not warn? We not warn a while ago that it will start with the hotels and then it'll be people's homes?
That's it. Well, the Home Office have secured around 16,000 rental properties for asylum seekers, prompting controversy due to the acute shortage of homes for young Britons and families. So here's the Conservatives saying that they're building more homes than they ever have done before, and yet it's being soaked up by this group of people that nobody ever wanted in this country. Nobody wanted them. And now the impact on services, on schools, it's just phenomenal. Go ahead, Statsman.
I know families whose ancestors have built this country with blood, sweat and tears, and many of them, their ancestors have died fighting for this country, who now need homes, and they're unable to get them. Some of these people have lost parents and are having hard times in life, but they're at the back of the queue. Why? This is totally unacceptable, but I'll ask the question and I'll probably be called names, so I don't care. It's not fair. The rules are skewed and it needs to stop.
Yep, indeed. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Very controversial comment coming up here at the moment, and it's not like me to do this.
Oh, really?
So, let's go hypothetically. Let's go to Gorsey Lane in Warrington.
Okay.
Let's go to the average family who is living there. You've got a father, a mother, and 3 daughters. One daughter's aged 14, one's 18, one's 22. They create a house of multiple occupancy right next to you.
Yep.
And then they put in 6 people who have come in on a dingy.
Jesus.
This morning, who nobody knows where they're from, and puts them next door to you in a house of multiple overseas.
I love that.
How would you feel?
I'd just say to him, are they DBS checked? How do we know they haven't got a criminal record from the country that they came from?
We don't know.
Well, there you go. This is
so as a family man, I wouldn't be happy.
I wouldn't be happy either.
I wouldn't be happy.
See, this is a problem, you see, because you cannot get any of this across to the police because they'll say, unless they commit a crime, they cannot do anything about it. Now, how many of these people have committed crimes in this country?
No.
How many of them? Go ahead, Statsman.
What I'm trying to get through to people, and some of the general public don't quite, I know they're not interested in local elections, but they really need to be. Because the problem we've got here is that at national level, they're letting these people in unvetted, but it's locally where they're housing them.
Yep.
So this is why the likes of us and other people are trying to get some control in the local areas. We've got to now regain control away from this conveyor belt of failure, because we'll be able to stop things like this and home the people first who need housing.
Correct. Home, charity begins at home. I don't know why the hell we're not just actually just getting rid of these people, sending them back. I know what is stopping the Royal Navy and anybody else from saying, go back, we don't want you, goodbye. Why are the Conservatives saying, well, we have to abide by the ECHR? They are so full of it. It's not funny. That's what's destroying the culture and the makeup of this country. And nobody wants it. And there's going to come a point whereby they're actually going to cause and create so much rioting amongst people because there's only so much that they're going to take. You know, you've seen what's going on in Australia at the moment. When that Christian guy, that Orthodox priest, was actually attacked in his church. Oh, my God. You can start to see the reactions now. And the Australian police don't know what to do because a lot of the Christian people have actually said enough's enough, and they've stood up. And they were outside of the church saying, bring him out, meaning the guy that actually committed the offense. Bring him out. Get him out here. And you're going to get mob rule before you know it. But anyway, okay, back to the subject. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Yeah, we've just fallen into a trap there. I mean, obviously you two have, because you've not been in the situation I've been in this weekend. And the trap was that you keep saying, these people.
Yep.
Now, they're going to say, what do they mean? Those white supremacists, these people, right? Well, let me just clarify it for you. The people that are coming in on the dinges, right? We don't know who they are.
No
so
idea.
When we say these people, what do you mean by these people? Is the people that are coming in here illegally.
Yep.
And we don't know who they are. That's just to clarify the situation for when my lawyers get back in touch.
Indeed. Or your representatives.
No, my representatives, that's what I meant, sir, but I didn't want to point a finger anywhere.
All right, no problem.
I have to just say...
You got to watch where you poke those fingers.
Listen, I'm beginning to feel... I've had more pokes on Facebook this weekend. I'm beginning to feel a little bit slutty.
Go ahead, Mark.
Look, these idiots in control think they're actually growing the economy by bringing these people in to work.
Fools.
To work, yeah. When in fact, they're not really, because if you look at it per capita, we're struggling.
Yep.
And the more you bring in, the worse that's going to get. We're fifth biggest economy, yeah. No, look at the bigger picture. They're kidding themselves. Well, if that's why they're really doing it, I don't know.
I've no idea why they are actually... They're fueling the flames. I cannot actually work out how they actually think that doing what they're doing is good for the country and is actually making the people happier. It's not. It's making them unhappy. And the majority at a certain point are going to blow their stack. And then what are they going to do? I mean, how many people in London hate Sadiq Khan? There's just thousands of them. But yet everybody is saying, well, because he's going to get the Muslim vote. He's going to bring the Muslim vote out and he's going to get back in. They're idiots if they vote him back in, because quite simply, he's going to kill it for them. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
Sorry, we're only looking at 3 weeks. I didn't mean to overspeak then, sir, Mr. Landlord. Now, because you might mute me. Now, we've only got about 3 weeks.
What, you mean like that?
I've missed the old mute. I'll be careful what I say.
You'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, there we go. I've got to unmute myself. There we are. Thank you.
It's a punishment.
Just wanted to remind everybody that the landlord still has the power. I have the power. Yeah.
That mute is still there, and I am frightened to death of that mute. But again, that's the thing I've got to apologise for. I'm not allowed to say mute anymore. No. And
or deaf mute. Or deaf dumb mute.
I've got to be very, very careful what I say, and I have to analyse every podcast we do, and I've got to vet it, screen it, squeeze it, give it a kiss before it goes out.
You got to bath it as well.
Wait, and I've got to bath it, but I can only bath it at certain times because that'd be called abuse if I wake it up or anything like that. Anyway, so we've got Sadiq Khan. We'll know in 3 weeks whether Sadiq Khan will be re-elected, and I am frightened to death because I cannot see a credible opponent out there.
No. They're saying that he's saying that actually he's going to get rid of homelessness by 2030. Get people all off the streets by 2030.
Impossible. No.
Hang on, how long's he been in now?
Oh, Jesus. Long enough to see knife crime go up to all-time highs.
Yeah, well, this is his third term, isn't it, right? So he's been in 8 years. So why is he not sorted homeless out in 8 years?
You tell me.
You know, you can't turn around and say, right, well, I will sort out homelessness by 2030.
Yeah.
Because why didn't you sort it out in 2016 when you got elected?
Yeah.
You're just babbling. You're
Yeah.
like a babbling stream. Sod off.
Get
Can't
out.
say go home because I've looked at the definition of go home. I can't say that anymore. That's
Well, we got to
another one.
learn the Urdu for go home. We got to learn it. Well, yeah,
I
two
was
fingers would
wondering
do
what
it.
was but I can't say that again because it's not. I'm not allowed to say that.
Yeah,
Neither.
but you know, the minute that you actually react against these people, they say you're racist, but you're not. You're
That's all
not
they've got.
racist at all for actually expressing it. I mean, I saw a joke today on there. A policeman was accosting this white guy, and he said, "You've just seen 8 people beating up Sadiq Khan." And he said, "Why didn't you help?" And he said, "Well, I thought 8 was enough."
That's brilliant, isn't it?
That's funny, but not in Scotland.
Yeah, well,
Oh yeah. Can't laugh in Scotland for that.
Risky.
you know, but what are they going to do? What are they going to say? And I don't care. This is a humorous podcast, so I don't give a crap. You know, it's as simple as that. But I mean, you got to, you know, there are things. I mean, if you are able to be trustworthy, reliable, tell the truth, be accountable, and your DBS checked with no criminal record on a repeat check every year, then in that case, then you've got nothing to worry about. But when you start coming out with stuff like he does, and so many people are cutting down those ULEZ cameras, I mean, is it any wonder that people have such hatred for this man? And especially the two-tiered policing that's going on with the Met Police. What a joke they are. Go ahead, Mark.
The whole this ULEZ thing, it's just part and parcel of living in the city, isn't it? With high emissions, I'm afraid, Sadiq. So just deal with it, mate. You know, like your terrorism and your knife crime. That was all part and parcel. So why isn't breaking the cameras and whatever they're doing? It's part and parcel. And
He's failed, hasn't he? He's failed.
Yeah, totally.
It's part and parcel of
Absolutely
an
failed.
absolute shocking mayor who does nothing about what he should be doing.
And to quote two of my favourite people in my whole life, 2 comedians, Morecambe and Wise, I had a criminal record in 2017, which was Dicker Dum Dum by Des O'Connor. And I sold it at a car boot in 2018.
So you made money.
I just thought
You made money out of that.
I made money out of Dicker Dum Dum. You would not believe it. And Paddy McGinty's goat. I also sold that at a car boot. And I'll tell you who I sold it to. You know what they call them? Greasers, when they tell them, they have the leather jackets and all that lot. I swear to you, I swear as true as I'm sat here inside my mansion, that I sold it to these 2 greasers who said, we've been looking for that for years. Paddy McGinty's goat.
Paddy McGinty's goat.
And he bought it for 20 pence. He said, that's been on my list for years and I've never come across it in the car boot.
Well, here's one to knock the Conservatives, because we are in election time. It's coming up.
We certainly are.
Fresh calls for beleaguered Cabinet Minister Michelle Donnellan to personally stump up over her libel case, as the total cost to taxpayers is revealed to be more than £34,000. So why is the taxpayer paying her libel case?
You took that word right out of my mouth. Why the hell are we paying that?
I know.
Because we keep voting these people in. Well, I say we, not me.
Yeah, I was going to say,
As long as the majority of voters keep voting these morons in, we have these problems. So another reason to change the way you vote.
Another reason to change the voting system.
How was she able to rely on public funds to pay it? It was because of an argument with Professor Kate Sang of Heriot Wall University. And she received, it's not a him, it's a her. Okay.
Who?
It's her.
Okay.
She accepted 15,000, but without admitting any liability. So, sorry, she was paid 15,000 without any liability going on Donnellan. So she was saying that they had extremist views, something of that nature, but the office paid out. Now she's from the science. I can't remember what is it.
So someone accused her of being an extremist.
No. Donnellan accused two academics of being extremists, and they came to a settlement because they were going to take legal action against her. So obviously, they paid $15,000 of public money to cover the damages in the case. Now, she's from the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology.
Ah, the spy one.
So there is that. But Labour and the Liberal Dems and the Lib Dums demanded that Miss Donnellan repay the costs from her own pocket rather than rely on public funds. And the two people that were involved there was, as I said, Professor Kate Sang of Heriot Watt University, and another one, she claimed another academic, Dr. Kamna Patel of University College London, had also shared extremist views. How about that?
What I want to know is, one, who are the solicitors and do they do no win, no fee?
Yeah. I tell you what she should have done is she should have said all this in Parliament, where they get their free speech according to the Bill of Rights, which they pretend doesn't exist when we mention it. Do it in Parliament, you're fine, aren't you? You can slag anyone off. Yeah. That's a schoolboy error, that.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll be in gallery next week then.
Yeah.
I'll be slagging them off.
Well, there you go. Okay? There you go. It does say in the Bill of Rights, Parliament. It doesn't say whereabouts in there, so...
Ah, well, there you go then.
Well, so half of the costs were for court, I think, and internal government legal services, whilst $11,600 was paid out in fees for external counsel. So how about that? So half of it was all incurred within the government, and the other half was paid out for the damages, a settlement out of court, if you like. So, I mean,
me being a bit, because as I say, I'm related to, I'm Necrodamus. And I see a vision. I'm getting a vision now. It's coming through to me now. I can see it. We're being shafted.
You didn't have to be psychic or a prophet to actually work that one out.
Well, I've been building up on that. Excuse me. Don't you start shooting me down.
I'm telling you, you don't have to be a prophet to guess that one. We've all been shafted over the last 13 years. And the expression that Mark comes out with, which is great, they are just a conveyor belt of failure. Just failure after failure after failure.
Excellent.
And people just need to understand that if you do not wake up and vote these people out, because that's the only power that you give them to be able to go ahead and do the things that they just feel that they can do. Like Khan thinks he's invincible. He can do anything, so he's just going to go ahead and do it. And he says this, he says that. He doesn't have to actually fulfill any of those things. Transport for London is in a terrible situation, but what's he doing? He's making sure that the trains are still running because he's buying them off every time they talk about doing a strike. So he's increasing their salaries. I mean, this man is just an idiot. There comes a certain point where you have to say, no, enough's enough.
That's what I was about to say. I keep saying to people, look, if everybody says no, whatever it is, stops. Look at Brexit. Do you want to leave the EU? Yes. No. Oh, yes. There you go. I'm not saying it's simple, but if everybody starts to implement change, it becomes infectious and people realise, actually, it's not just me who thinks this way. People are willing to do something different.
Well, indeed. Well,
people need to offer something different too. So there's that side.
But the only thing that they can offer is honesty.
Yeah.
And credibility.
Excuse me. And OnlyFans pages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Don't forget about that.
All right. Well, I'm going to come on to this now. Your OnlyFans page should be absolutely brimming to the top after you featured in national newspapers at the weekend. Picture with you and Nigel Farage taking up 2 full pages in the Mirror.
Whoa.
I don't even think we should be associating with you.
Whoa. Let me just clarify that again.
Oh, it was Nigel with you, was it? Or you with Nigel?
Nigel with me. All right. And somebody said they need a dentist. Now, I'm telling you, you should not say that to Nigel because he's a friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
And that was only one of the few comments that were on it.
Don't get too close unless you're sucking a Tic Tac. Okay, I get the message.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yep, indeed. Right, well, I tell you what, That was a story. Now, I just want to ask you a question. So,
well, obviously you would do.
have the subs for the Ku Klux Klan been raised at all in the last 160 years that you've been a member?
Not quite sure what you mean there. That's a bit ageist.
All right.
The last 160 years that I've been a member.
Yeah, you've been a member for 160 years, apparently. You've been a white supremacist forever.
Yeah, I'm a white supremacist.
Can you...
They chose... let me just, if I may, just... I mean, I really shouldn't do this because I might get in trouble again. But they took 2 words out of a statement that was about 150 words long. I haven't counted them, to be honest. But they took 2 words.
Oh, so it was 2000, really, then, knowing you.
It might have been, because sometimes I do that when I've had a drink. And so I put it up, and they took it. They took the 2 words, which were white pride. It was nothing to do with white pride. It was that I'm proud to be white.
Yeah.
And they took them, they flew them, they put them in a van, and they drove them all the way to Brussels, right? So this left wing
organization,
do lally think tank section, where they had to find a definition of white pride, not proud to be white, where they had to find a white pride. And then these boffins at the do lally club flew it 2,500 miles over to some deep state back of the bush.
Yo, baby, you're not talking about us, are you?
Hut, right? Where they then connected it. White pride, we've heard of that before. And then they connected it to the 110-year-old organisation, the Ku Klux Klan.
It's not. It's 160 years old.
160 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Wow. How long? You've been a member for a long time, sir.
Sorry.
Looking good for your age, eh?
I'm sorry, that does make me feel old.
The first Ku Klux Klan started in 1835.
To complete the full circle, they went all the way around, flew it back again, all the way to 2000. To link it to me, to be a member of a white supremacist group, they said Ku Klux Klan. And all it was, if anybody wishes to read the full article, I will just say what it is. It was just pointing out the inequalities of what's happening in my Britain.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was all it was doing is pointing out the inequalities. I'm not going to go on about it. You can read it. If you go to the whatever the links are, just check it. I'm all over the place. I'm absolutely beautiful. I'm famous. They've not done me any harm whatsoever. They're trying to they've linked me to a white supremacist group, which is actually actionable and against the law.
You got your word in, sir.
As my representatives pointed out.
Yep.
And go ahead, do what you want to do. I was trying to point out the inequalities in this country.
You can't say anything.
Read the article. And I was pointing out the inequalities in this country. That's all it was.
Will you give way to Statsman, sir?
I will.
He's gagging to say something about this. Go ahead.
I'm probably going to repeat some of what Trevor said, but before I do, could you still getting a discount on pointy hats, mate?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, can you get one for the Raven?
Realise, well, it's actually called a caftan.
Oh, didn't know.
No, well, nobody does actually.
Only members know.
I've got to keep that secret. Yeah, it is secret, actually. And it was one pointing out that it's not a secret society, the Ku Klux Klan. It's a society of secrets.
That's right.
Which is totally different. Sorry, Mark. So carry on. Yeah. Have I still got the caftan? No.
Well, like Trav said, I mean, one Facebook post from about 4 years ago. I mean, come on. It basically just asks questions, isn't it? Why is it acceptable to have groups based on religion and race and be proud of skin colour or things like sexuality for everyone bar white people?
That's
it's a
right.
valid question. It gave a broad list of examples, but this pathetic hack journo picked his favourite lefty buzzwords and he rolled with them. So, I mean, if you look at his logic, going by this imbecile's logic, he basically means if you're proud of one thing, then you automatically hate the opposite, whatever that is. So, as Trev said, he's literally linked being proud of something to a European anti-populism group. There's another word they've made up.
Yeah.
Rubbish word, though, to slare people with populism, because isn't popular meant to be pretty good?
Pretty good.
Yeah. So they've invented this slur, and then they've linked it, like you said, being
Popular.
proud of your own body, thousands of miles away, to the likes of the Ku Klux Klan and Nazis in America, who he literally has no connections to. I mean, all right, they might use the words in a racist way, but nowhere in that comment did it. In fact, it said all lives matter, but the little hack journo never mentioned that, did he? So, to be honest, this is a massive stretch, this.
Yeah, massive. I mean, it's a fail. It's a massive fail.
Even his political enemies aren't going to use this because, it's total horse crap, and it's going to make them look silly as well. Everyone knows Trev, and anyone with half a brain cell knows this is absolute nonsense. But going by this logic, does this mean then if you're proud to be gay, that means you've got heterosexual phobia?
Yeah.
If you have an Islamic bank account, does that mean you're anti-Christian? Does Black Lives Matter mean that all other lives don't matter? Or do these rules only apply to who the left decide they do? Because
listen, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, remember now, those people have been done for fraud.
Yeah, but this is where they've got the clinch. So everyone else can say they're proud to be whatever they want, but white people can't. So white people got to hate themselves, or they're racist. No. That's actually racist.
Yeah. Fed up of the suppression that's going on.
But my point here is I think reform now here really rattled the political establishment, that they are showing how desperate they are and making mistakes like with this.
Well, reform have actually said that they are backing Nicholls to the hilt.
Well, so they
because quite said they will not sack people who ask questions of the left-wing establishment.
But what annoys me is we've just, at the start of this podcast, we've just told people about how many wrong-uns are in these other political parties.
Oh, God, there's tons of them.
We are talking about Facebook posts, so now totally out of context. Now, you look at what happened. The Mirror put it out on Twitter. They got about 24 retweets. The actual reporter who put it out got 1 retweet and 1 like. So, I mean, what was the goal here? Absolutely nothing. So, obviously, we'll be taking this up with Simon Murphy. So, he thinks he's getting away with this hatchet job. Then think again, buddy. Because we don't take that.
It's not just him. Let's make sure that we have a go at the senior news reporter. Not only him, but also the deputy political editor and Sam Bright. Because they're the ones that actually let that go.
Yeah. Oh, they must have sanctioned it.
Oh yeah.
No, idiots. Well, they're responsible as well.
Absolute idiots, because
shocking though.
Yeah, it is stupid the way that they actually try to make these links. I mean, it was so desperate. Desperate.
No, I think we should be asking him to explain this absolute bizarre logic and how he works all this out, and how he believes that anyone thinks this is credible, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's a serious accusation, that.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a serious accusation, that.
See, some people, Trevor, this would affect them and destroy their credibility. They could have resigned. Some people might have even harmed themselves and stuff like that.
Of course they could. They're throwing accusations around on a very, very serious note here.
It is.
Trying to link me to the Ku Klux Klan, for God's sake.
Trevor, this is done to destroy...
You haven't even got a horse.
This is done...
What's a horse got to do with it? I haven't got a horse. I don't have
You need one. No, this is done to destroy reform, but what these people don't realise is this can destroy people's lives and reputations. I mean, obviously this one won't, because it's an absolute pathetic hack job.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's gone nowhere, but, it's got to stop. I think, I'm glad they backed you on this occasion, because this is just pathetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
right, and that's the ding-a-ling in the round. Right, calling it. Yeah. Here we go. Come on. This is now it now. Back off. This is Ultimate Fight Club. Back off. We are now going to deal with the end of the show. Any shout downs or shout ups or anything? I don't want a comment from you at the moment, Gaz. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
My shout out is to Sir Trevor Nicholls, because he will be knighted in the future.
Do you reckon?
So, yeah. Oh, aye. Incredible job. I mean, this has just proved how...
Well, we're just going to have to get to the Honours Committee.
But yeah, my shout outs to the Gazelle.
Okay.
For being a legend and doing all he can to stand up to all this mess.
Thank you, sir.
Taking all this flack at the same time and just brushing it off like you're being attacked by a gnat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Pathetic attempt. Good job, mate. Keep it up. Keep on the attack.
Well.
And you can get me one of them pointy hats on the cheap.
Yeah. And you will need a horse, because
Gazelle one there, the Raven wants
every one of those movies, okay, all the Ku Klux Klan had horses.
a pointy hat. I was going to say, I got my words mixed up there. A pointy hat with Gaz on it. Right?
Yes. Okay. Any shout outs or shout downs, please, sir? And don't go on about that again. Thank you.
All right, I won't. I'm just annoyed about that, actually. That's
I know. I said don't go on about it. Move on.
No, I'm not going on about it. No, I've got a couple of little stories. I mean, they're quite long, actually. Which is,
He's turning into the Raven.
No, I'm trying not to turn into the Raven. Anyway, and I've got to be quick through this one. I had a problem with the computer today, so I called Eric, the 11-year-old kid from next door. And Eric clicked a couple of buttons and he solved the problem. And as he was walking away, I called after him. I said, what was wrong? He replied, it was the 10T error. And I didn't want to appear stupid, so I asked him, what exactly is an ID 10T error? And Eric grinned and he said, right, if you've not heard of that before, the ID 10T error. And I said, no. And he said, write it down and I think you'll suss it what it is. So I wrote it down and it said IDIOT. I used to like Eric, the little bastard. So that's a day in my life.
Oh, my word. Okay, well, that's it. That's all. Thank God that's all over. I am now saying it's goodbye. Okay. I've got to get this down to 10 minutes. How am I going to be able to do that?
You'll have to edit out to look at what I've said tonight.
I think so. No. There we go.
Please.
So, without a shadow of a doubt, Statsman, say your good nights.
Well, I forgot to say hello to our lovely listeners this week, so I'll give them a massive goodbye, farewell, and hope to see you all again next week.
Okay. Gazelle, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, as you've probably read in the papers, I'm standing for Orford for Reform UK. Go out there, make sure you vote for Trevor Nicholls for the Orford ward. Thank you.
There you go. And I'm just going to say, well, I'm happy that that's all there. And I'm just going to fade things out. Trevor, don't open your mouth. Don't say another word.
Don't say you've been to America either. Shh.
Don't say that you're proud of being white anymore.
Shh.
Simon is listening.
Hate yourself or else.
The only thing I'm going to say is I've just put me odd on number 1, which is a whitewash.